Well, I see you caught me being a ripper in Ty the Tasmanian Tiger. Yes, that's right. Our next review is Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, a review I did previously, but now I'm going to be redoing it, so, hey. We'll see how good we do with this review, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. I'm excited to take another look at this game and see if my opinion's changed. Anyways, though, let's get on with it. Now, the settings are pretty decent. You have extras, which basically give you options, gallery, movies. You can view the credits, even before beating the game, and, software notices, so not much to it. Also, before we start a new game, I should mention, exclusively for this version, so this wouldn't, work for the PS2 version for those of you who are trying to pick that up, but for people who have the HD version, there's a thing called hardcore mode, which is like a more difficult version of the game. So if that's something people are interested in, that's cool. I like that they added something new to it rather than just it being a remake. But with that out of the way, let's get on with the story. So the story basically starts off with Ty and a friend just playing around in the forest, just having a good old time. Eventually, though, Orion, he falls into a cave. He doesn't really know why he's there, but he eventually finds a shaman who knows the location of his extinct race, because he is a Tasmanian tiger, and it's kind of cool that they use that, because it's more of a not so long ago extinct race compared to a lot of other ones, so it's very clever they use the Tasmanian tiger as that. Basically, this guy just tells him he needs to find all the talisman to stop Boss Kaz and bring his family back, and it's a decent plot. It's not a ton to it, but they give some nice lore as to what happened to his people, in the context of the game universe, and it's a nice explanation they give. Boss Kaz is an interesting villain. I don't know if he's funny or anything. I wouldn't say he's super funny, but he's a pretty entertaining villain for what he is. Aside from that, sadly, there's not really much to mention in terms of the plot, because honestly, the plot is just, you gotta get the talisman, you gotta get all the Thunder Eggs to get to each world. It's your basic, platformer story, and, it has a decent ending, and for what it is, it gets the job done. I would like a better story, but I understand that platformers don't usually have that, and that's not, an excuse for it being not so good, but for what it is, it gets the job done, and it gives you a reason to go through it. And honestly, for someone like me, that's enough story. I understand for other gamers it might be pretty annoying, though. Each level has really cool intros where the bird guy will basically, talk and give narration about the level. And they're really funny quips sometimes, and I like that. When you start the game, you don't have a lot of moves. So you start off with just one boomerang, and you can't even really do a glide, but as you go through the level, you kind of unlock that. You want to get these little opals. They're not the most useful thing in the game, but if you get all of them in each level, you unlock a Thunder Egg, which is something you need. So while they themselves don't really give you much, they're very helpful. There's also cogs within levels you can find that will give you new boomerangs to try. I do want to get on to the boomerangs, because the boomerangs are very interesting. So just to mention a few different ones you have your regular boomerang, which, it does the regular thing. It's your boomerang. It's like your default one. You have your flamerang, which basically what it does is it can kill enemies at a better rate, and it can destroy frozen things. But for boxes and health, it doesn't really do much unlike the regular boomerang. So what I like about it is each boomerang does have a thing to it that makes it worse. There's also enemies they could throw them at that they'd be able to basically fire people, right? So they have little torches, you could throw the flamerangs at them and that'll kill them. That's a really neat thing they added. There's also the Frosty Rang. Very similar thing, it can freeze enemies. It's not as powerful as the Flamerang, but it can take out fire, and it could freeze enemies with shields that you otherwise couldn't kill with any other boomerang. The Zappy Rang, gonna be honest with you, this ring is basically freaking weak. There's not really much to the Zappy Ring except for, well, it's the Zappy Ring. That's literally it. You also have the Zoomerang, so basically you could zoom in with it, and it's basically, sniper ring. That's really all there is to it. It's cool, if you want to zoom in and you want to, shoot at enemies. Oh, God. One big thing I gotta complain is the 6-axis usage in this HD version. I wish that could be turned off. Can that be turned off? Let's find out now in this review. I haven't checked. No. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, no, you can turn it off. Okay, so that complaint is void. I had to make sure just in case. So yeah, no, never mind. You can turn it off, but I wish that it was defaultly off. Yeah, my complaint is void. Apologize about that. I should have probably checked that. Let's see, what else do we got? So we also got the multi-rang, which some of these rangs are like ones you could buy, so I'm just going to show off a few of these. So multi-rang shoots out a bunch of rangs, but they don't have as much range as the other ones. It's also the Infrarang, which is basically, it lets you view secret boxes. That's really all the use of it that there is, aside from it does the same thing as a regular boomerang, so not much to it. You also have your basic jump, your bite. Basically, you could like bite stuff like your Sonic or something and, bite on different camera things to get up to platforms. Basic moves, a lot of interesting stuff they got. Once you beat a level very similar to something like Crash, you'll unlock different time trials. But unlike Crash, I actually like them in Thai. I like being able to like race people and do stuff like that, and I know in my playthrough I was complaining constantly about it, but honestly it's not too bad. They handled it well. I like being able to get a variety, because you either have like the regular running, you have racing you can do, like with this guy. There's different like ways they use it, unlike other ones, like where it's just for Crash, you do time trial, you break time boxes. This one has a different one for every level, and I like that variety. Speaking of time trials, this game also has leaderboards based on the best times you can get, which wasn't in the original, so this is also like a remake-only thing that I want to mention because I have it. But basically, like, each level has, like, a different time you could do. Like, I have 31 seconds here, right? So you got, like, this person here at number 10 with 28 seconds. The highest you can get is 26 seconds. That's cool. It's cool to, like, see how far you can go in a level with these time trials. And, yeah. It's a fun thing to do, for sure. Now, I gotta say, the vehicle levels are pretty decent, and I would never have thought they were pretty decent, but a lot of them have good control to them. Especially the Bull level, which is probably one of the most unique levels in the game, because unlike most levels, there are these little signs you can do that will basically let you do mini missions. There's a lot of ones with Shazza, which was in other ones. She has decent missions compared to, especially the Boomerang one. There's also missions you could do for the big guy, and there's like a really funny cutscene in one of them that I quite enjoyed. And it's a really big level. It's not big in terms of like you have a big landscape, but it's big in terms of there's like a lot of paths you can go on and a lot of places you can go. It's not the biggest level, but it's out of all the levels, it's the biggest one with the most stuff in it. And I prefer it to some of the wasteland type levels that I'm not the biggest fan of. They really utilize these levels very well because I like exploring and looking around in this. And to cap off any other remake stuff, you also have skins you can get for this version, which is taken from something like Thai 3. It's really cool. Well, actually, Thai 4, I mean. Thai 4 had, like, skins. This one brought it back. So, honestly, like, for anything, like, people say about, like, remakes and all that, this is probably one of the best, like, remaster-ish remakes. It's like a semi-mix, I guess you could say. Because it's mostly a remaster, like, a lot of the textures are the same, but it's much more improved, and it has a lot of, like, new features, like that quick select that wasn't in the original game. In terms of level selection, you have a varied amount of levels. You have, like, rainforest levels, you have snow levels, and you have, like, wastelandish levels with a bull. Now, I will say, like, originally when I did this review, I did complain about the lack of variety in levels, but it's not terrible. Like, the only time when the variety goes down is by, like, the second to last, well, the last, like, hub with, like, actual levels, which is the third one, and they just reuse levels for that one. But honestly, the reused levels, aside from the snow one, they're kind of the same, but they're also different, especially Liar Liar Bird. Like, it's still the same rainforest from the first hub that you did, but the big difference is now you have this Liar Bird that you have to not trust, because he'll tell you to, like, destroy this, right? But you actually want to destroy this because he's tricking you, because he's a liar bird. And they actually make really good use of it, because, like, you don't want to listen to him. He's going to tell you to do something. And I like that. I like that variety, and that's probably one of the few changed opinions about this game that I have, is that I like the level variety. It's enough for what it is, to be honest. Now, I have to say the weakest link in this game is definitely the boss fights. I don't really like the boss fights in this game. Like, this boss fight, Fluffy's Fjord, for example, I don't like this level because it's very... I don't know, the camera's messed up, they don't really utilize the bosses to their fullest potential because they feel like bosses that could just get cheap hits on you, and there's only, like, small strategies you could do to really get them. They're not, like, creative boss fights either. It's just, you hit them, and then you do a thing. And then you got, like, bosses like Fluffy's Fjord where they just smash you, or you got the fish one where you got to be very specific with getting the bombs, or the bull one where the bull could just ram into you. It's really bad the way they handled the bosses. I wish they would have handled it better, but it's not a deal breaker. I just feel like, in my personal opinion, the boss battles are the weakest link in the game. They also have mini games like within levels, and a lot of them are pretty neat. Some of them are annoying. Like there's one where you have to like destroy these enemies with your boomerangs. You have to defend Shaza, and it's not very good. I don't like having to like throw rocks at them. There are also pretty good ones like with turrets that you can use, and those are neat little mini games too that I think were utilized well. With most of that out of the way, I guess we could get on with the music since we got a lot of the game talk out of the way. And let me tell you, the music is really good. It's very Australian-y because, the game itself is, so right on for them to do it. It's not my favorite kind of stuff, but I'll let you guys listen to a few. Well, everyone, that was my Ty the Tasmanian Tiger review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Overall, it's a very creative and interesting game for what it is. I prefer it to the sequels, even, because the sequels, I'll get to them later. They're not really bad, but they're not as good, and they haven't captured the same magic as this collectathon has captured to me. I really like this game, and I think it's a very top platformer you should try. Whether you have Steam, if you have your Switch, or you have a PS5 or 4 or Xbox, it's on most systems that are currently out, basically. So if you have any of those, I definitely give Ty the Tasmanian Tiger a try, and who knows, maybe you'll find a new platformer you love. With that, though, that'll be it for the review. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Peace.